What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to talk about what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to talk about what's going on with the overall market and talk about some very important levels and what's going on with some important data that's coming out for tomorrow. But before I break anything down, all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. Now, the offer ends in just about 6 days from now, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market and Tesla. So looking at the market, we had a very aggressive sell-off, and it's still going on right now on SPY and all these different tickers. But Tesla's only down 1%, which is quite minor since Tesla has a high beta. Its beta is above 2.0, so typically on a day like this, Tesla should have been down almost 3%. Instead, Tesla's only down like 1%. So that means Tesla's showing some strength as it's still trying to hold up quite decently. So I'm going to break down some important levels to watch for and what's going on with the charts and why the market is starting to sell off this aggressively. So when I was thinking, I'm going to start off with SPY just for now before I talk more about Tesla. I was thinking that the market would sell off a bit, guys. I was talking about this yesterday, but I thought we might see some buyers step in like at 420 on SPY, around there, maybe around 422, depending on how low we went. But I warned you, if we broke 420, that would be a very bearish signal. The market would start selling off even more aggressively. And what happened was we ended up breaking 420, and that was very, very important. This happened for many different reasons. One of the main reasons as to why this is happening is because we have a catalyst that could start pushing yields up higher. And what is this catalyst? Well, the first thing that happened was we had new home sales data coming out, and this is what caused the market to start selling off more aggressively just to start us off. This ended up soaring to the upside, but it's not because the housing market is strong. You see, we saw this increase in the new home sales because of the fact that it's very probable that investors, buyers, and retail and people, they're looking at the interest rate increases and they're going to see these high mortgage rates. And they believe interest rates are going to continue to go up higher and higher and higher. So they're trying to just buy these new home sales right now, just buy them up quickly to try to secure these current rates, just so that they don't have to be, paying for much higher rates later on. So that's what sometimes happens when rates increase. This is what many economists oftentimes talk about. And this has to do with the psychology of money and the psychology of perceived value of particular things. So that's what's going on right now with the new home sales increasing because of projected increases in rates. And then on top of this, as a reminder, we have Jerome Powell speaking after market close today. So when Powell speaks, it's just going to be an introductory message, but there's always the possibility he's going to say something that causes the market to shake. You never know with Powell, guys. He could say something like something about the economy, who knows what. And that's why you need to be prepared just to be safe. This guy could shake the market like crazy. And then finally, we have the GDP numbers coming out tomorrow morning, an hour before the market opens. Now, we're expecting the GDP numbers to be hot at 4.2% or so. Now, this is very important because if the GDP numbers come in hot tomorrow, and remember, this is coming out an hour before it opens, so most retail investors are not going to be able to react to this on time. What's going to happen is if we get some hot GDP numbers, the 10-year Treasury yield could start soaring above 5%. And if that happens, if we break above 5, this is going to lead to more selling in the stock market or possibly more selling. So because of this, the 10-year Treasury yield is going up, which could cause the overall yield curve to invert. With that happening, this is leading to a sell-off in the markets. We also have to add that we saw some, selling off from Google, aka Alphabet, and that also played a big role in the market. So all these different factors led to this sell-off. What I was thinking was, I thought the market would hold up a little bit better today. That's what I was thinking yesterday. And I thought the sell-off would happen after Jerome Powell's speech, maybe going into Thursday with the GDP numbers. That's what I was initially thinking, but the sell-off happened even earlier than expected. So with that being said, now the best thing we could do is just watch these levels and talk about how the market can move. We're going to start off now with Tesla. So with Tesla is not looking bad whatsoever. It's gaining some relative strength, and that's a decent setup. But one thing I warned you guys about was that gap down on Tesla in this 212 area. So we had a gap basically down below on Tesla. And this gap, let me just show you where it is. This gap on the 30 minutes time frame showed some more potential right here. We haven't fully filled this gap yet, so there's a risk of more downside. Let me show you where this gap is. This gap is right here around this 212 area. So Tesla has support at 214. If we continue to sell off below it, there is a risk of it coming down to 212 to fill this gap. It's going to depend on different factors, whether Tesla gets down there today or not, or if not by tomorrow. But there is a gap that should get filled, and we could see more selling on Tesla later on going into tomorrow. But Tesla's holding up quite nicely, so I don't expect a super aggressive sell-off on Tesla so long as there's no bad news. So watch 212 as support. Also below that, we have 210 and then 208. And right now we're trying to hold up above 214, which is where we have some support. So watch those levels, 214, 212, 210, and 208. And if Tesla ends up holding these levels, we have resistance at 215. Then we have more resistance at 216.8, followed by 218, and then 220 and 222.5. Tesla's looking like it's kind of range bound, going back and forth between supply and demand. Not really moving too much. It's kind of flat for the most part. The market's trying to hold up a bit right now, but there is still a risk of Tesla selling off later on going into tomorrow with all this data coming out. So make sure you're prepared for this and make sure you're ready. Now, what about for SPY? What's going on with SPY? Do I think there's going to be an end of the year rally? The answer is yes. I still favor that there's going to be a rally towards the end of the year, but like I said in my previous videos, we need to see the market bottom first. The market is not bottomed just yet, and they're trying to get everyone to turn as bearish as possible, scare the daylight out of retail. That is what their goal is. That's what this game is about. But remember the Elliott wave perspective I called out in my other videos. We have this wave 1 right here, wave 2. This is wave 3 down here. Wave 4 is up here, and we're still in wave 5 for the final sell-off. So the market's going to likely bottom soon. And I believe somewhere between where we currently are, the low we have, and 410. So between 417 and 410 should be very close to where the bottom is. We could go all the way down to 410. It's a possibility, but the market is going to bottom soon. And I think there's going to be a November/December rally coming. And there could be more correcting in 2024 because of the recession, but we're not going to worry about that just yet. I still think that the market has, some selling that's going on. We're not ready yet for the full bottom. There's no true sign of it yet. So we're going to be waiting and watching some very important levels. So because SPY broke 420, we have another bearish signal. Because all this negative anticipation has come out for the news, it's continuing to lead the market to selling. And then don't forget, guys, tomorrow morning, an hour before the market opens, we have this important data. So if you want to hold overnight, it's your choice. If not, be very careful. Who knows what's going to happen with these numbers? So for SPY, we have support at 417. If we lose 417, this thing could come down to 416.25. And if we lose that, the next level is going to be 414 to 415. If we lose this level, it's going to come all the way down to 412.5. All right, so we're going to be watching these levels carefully. Now for resistance, watch 418 on SPY. If we break above 418, there's going to be some resistance close to 419 is the next key level. If we get above that, watch 420. This is going to be a critical resistance. In order for there to be hope for the bulls, we want to get back above 4. This is going to be around 420. But we want to get above that to give some hope for the bulls. If we fail to do so, the bears are still going to have the edge. So we're looking a little weaker right now. The market is still kind of stuck between support and resistance. There could be more selling in the future, but watch these levels very, very carefully. Let's see if we can try to get back above 418. But if we end up losing 417, expect even more selling. The QQQ was looking quite bearish today with Google selling off alongside Aapl and a couple of other tickers like Nvda. Now, for the QQQ, I was talking about this thing testing 355, and I was thinking some buyers could try to step in at either 355, or 353.5. That's what I was thinking yesterday. But the buyers did not step in because of anticipation of some bad news and some data that caused more selling. So with that happening, we had the next levels to watch for, right? We had this white support trend line, which is historical support, which we broke below. And then we're barely testing 350 as critical support. So for support, watch 350. If we lose it, there is some support at 349, but it's not that strong. The strongest support is going to be at 347. Now, for resistance, you're going to be watching this 352 area. That's where we have this white trend line, this white historical support, which is going to become resistance, 353.5 and 355 on the QQQ. We're looking a little weak right now. We could be stuck in kind of range bound for the time being. So we're going to be waiting to see how this looks. But for now, watch these levels and just know that there are a lot of sellers out there and the buyers do not have the edge. It's the sellers who are on top for today. For Nvidia, I was talking about some downside on Nvidia yesterday, but I was thinking that we might see this thing, see some buyers around 431. But if we lost that, maybe 425 is where some buyers could try to step in. Instead, this thing sold off even more aggressively because of some anticipation of this data and things like that. So the levels to watch for are basically going to be 420. If we lose 420, the support right here is very close to 417. If that fails us, it's going to come all the way down towards, I could see it come down to about 414 right here, this previous resistance, followed by this 410 area. For resistance, however, as long as we hold 420, you're going to be watching some resistance at 423. If we break that, watch 425 to 426. And if we get above that, 431 is a real possibility. But Nvidia is looking a little weak right now. We're kind of like shopping around 420. It may continue to do so. So watch these levels and see which way we break. For Apple stock, we're also looking a little bit more bearish. We saw this thing, continuing to break down. It failed to hold this key support at 172, and I talked about this yesterday. If we lost 172, I'd turn more bearish. But instead of buyers stepping in, it just continued to sell off. So we're going to be watching support right now. We have some support at 171, 170.8 has some minor support, and then we have strong support at 170.25. For resistance, watch 172. If we break above that, watch 172.6, 173.5, and then we have 174.5 above that. Apple, in my opinion, it's kind of like choppy right now. It's trading a little sideways where it's currently at, but the trend has been to the downside so far, and it may continue on this like very choppy path for the rest of the day with a little bit of downside to it. It's not looking extremely weak, but it's still looking like the trend is downwards. So we're going to be watching all these different levels, but that's pretty much it. I went over Tesla, SPY, and all these different tickers. We're going to be watching these supports very carefully. Just know that SPY is still looking kind of weak. So let's see how this thing reacts to these supports. We'll see how the market does. And we're going to be watching these levels. Once again, guys, huge data comes out tomorrow that's going to be affecting the treasury yields. The yields being affected are going to affect the stock market because the bonds market is very pivotal for the current flow of money. And with that happening, I don't know what's going to happen exactly with these numbers. I can't really promise anything, so we'll just have to wait and see. There is a risk of more downside for the markets, but I don't believe the downside is going to last forever. I think the market will bounce soon. We're still in October. It's going to take some time by the time we get into November. It's going to be a long end of the month, if anything, but over time, the market is going to likely bottom soon. I'm going to say it again. Do not become too stressed over this. Do not panic. Just be very calm and just know that this is just part of natural cycles. This is part of manipulation too. All of them are coming together and the market is going to be just fine. Okay, so don't panic. Don't worry. It's going to be okay. And I'll see you guys very soon. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one and peace out.